Okay, Andy, we have set the stage. All the players are here. We are ready to get started on assembling you a 6139 6009 notch resist. I think we've got everything we need. It's going to be pretty straightforward from this point on. We're going to put your 6002 back together. Oops, it's going to go over here. I don't know if you want to do a crystal on this. We still have to have a little talk about what the crystal situation is going to be on this watch. I think the one that's in there doesn't quite do the justice it needs to the case and all the other parts, but we could swap out the 6002 for the 6009 crystal if you don't want a new one. That's entirely up to you. So still probably a little bit more shifting of stuff. We got your replacement movement here. This is an A with the proper hands and everything. We've got your dial, we've got your replacement, your correct hands here. So these are all components of this watch. Basically, you just need the movement and some other parts. So some shuffling and some disassembly, reassembly, but once we're there, we'll be ready to go. Okay, I still have your crown. It's over here in the box. So we'll get you a crown and stem assembly put together for this watch, and then we'll be ready to roll. Okay, be right back. Okay, Andy, I think the first step in this process is to go ahead and think about what your A movement here has to offer. It's really not bad, actually. This is a pretty good looking watch, or it was a pretty good looking watch. Be gentle here with parts. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Let's get a stem in here, and that way we can get the hands right. Okay. Okay. So maybe an issue. Something doesn't look quite right. It's only running backwards. All right. Well, we'll see what's going on. It's running. That's important. Just for your information, this is an 05, and yours is an 06, so these were made a month apart. Interesting. Okay, chronograph wheel looks good. That is always the concern with buying a movement separated from the watch, is that the chronograph wheel is oftentimes an issue. So that looks okay. So far, so good. Interesting. What's going on in here? Yeah, your calendar finger here is screwed up, so that's not a big deal. That we can replace very easily, and that should put things right. Okay, Andy. We are ready to do some jeweling and do some cleaning, and then we'll start reassembly and get things headed in the right direction. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, Andy. Well, your movement looked pretty good. One little bad part, but otherwise, overall, pretty nice. Things cleaned up really well. Doesn't look like you have any issues with any of the pivots or jewels. So we're going to press forward. A couple little things just before we get started. Your dial that you purchased. I'm not sure if you know or if you'd seen it, but it has some. I took a look at it just as I was inspecting all the parts. It just has a little slight radial. Let's see here if I can get this into a spot where you can see it. You can just see the very faintest. It looked like a hand might have come into contact. Just want to make you completely aware before we get it in the case and get everything back together. Some slight imperfection right there on the dial, but I'm not going to mess with it. I don't think that these dials take too well to being well, not restored, but even sort of cleaned. In fact, I just sort of like to take a hands-off approach. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be terribly noticeable once it's in the case and you have everything in place. But I just want to make you aware, just that it was there. Okay, we're going to get started and move forward. All right, well that is movement running. Let's go ahead and check and see how it's doing. We'll be right back. Okay, definitely needs some adjustment, but we'll get there. Let's see if we can start this process. Okay, as I had sort of suspected, we're going to have to do some work on your hairspring relative to your balance. It's a little bit pushed in the direction of out of adjustment. I mean, it's working fine, but it needs an actual adjustment where I need to take it apart. So give me a moment, I'll be back. Okay, that's a little bit better. Sometimes the hairspring relative to the balance position gets a little out of line, and you have to adjust it to get it back so you can actually get the beat error set. It's a complicated thing, but it's not too difficult to remedy, and I think we've done pretty well here. So I'm going to just adjust this a touch. Let's recenter that. Okay. Well, that's certainly looking good. We're going to have to make some fine adjustments, of course, once we get in the case, but I'd say we're doing all right. A little bit too much. Okay. Yep. It's like balancing on the head of a pin here. All right. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and let that work. Yeah, that's really nice. Perfect. All right, that's exactly where I hope to be. We're gonna let this work its way a little bit, and then we'll get over to the calendar side and finish things up. Looking great. It's a good runner. That was a good investment in getting this movement, I think. It was definitely a good one. Very good. All right, nice. Okay, Andy, that is the movement finished. We're gonna move on to your dial, your hands, and recasing the movement in your 6009, and we will be back. Okay, your new parts have arrived, so it's time to finish our process on your 6009. Everything's looking pretty good. Okay, well there it is. There is your very interesting assembled 6139 6009 notch resist automatic chronograph. Very, very cool watch. All right, well, this was quite a road. We had a few false starts along the way, a couple changes of idea about what to do, but we assembled the pieces. We got all the things together. It's been a little while. This is probably one of the longer service restoration projects that I've worked on. Usually, things come in and I have parts on hand. We can get things done, but we had a couple things to do on this one. This was a bit of a challenge, and luckily, the world is full of parts and pieces, and we can make things work and feel pretty good about the result. So originally, you had sent me a 6002 and parts of a 6009, and we were going to do some work to try and make one watch out of two. But I think we persevered and did something a bit better, which was we left you with a complete 6002, which I still want to talk about. I'm always open to a little bit of barter and trade, as long as it makes sense for both of us. But we'll come back to that. So your 6002 is complete. Everything is exactly as it was when it came, and we haven't changed anything on this one. So this is the watch you sent, and it is still intact. So we left that as it is. You sent me a case. You sent me the dial and the minute and hour hand. The case had the nice insert ring and the tacky ring, which is in good shape. But we were deficit a movement. We were deficit some hands, the chronograph hands. We were deficit a crown, and we were deficit a case or a movement retaining ring and spring. So you found us a really nice donor movement, an A, with a hand and dial set that I'm going to either send back to you, or we'll talk about what to do with that as well. So that's your extra, and we assembled and serviced the movement and put with it its sweep hand. So you have a proper two-part sweep with the corresponding proper sub-register hand. You have all original loom, original to this case, original dial to go with this case back. You have a new working functional crown, which does its job, of course. So that's right. And everything just works as it should. And this is a great runner. I was so happy to find out there was only one bad piece with this movement, and it was a very simple thing. It wasn't turning over correctly, and maybe that's why it came out of the watch that it was originally in, but it's a very, very straightforward fix. And so these are the parts and pieces from your 6009 movement. So this is from your case, of course, as is this. So these are case parts. This is your original crystal and your original seal. And in your movement, we had to replace this. This is the finger to advance the day disc and it was really not in good shape, and in fact it was tweaked so badly it wasn't allowing things to turn properly. You can see here it's got some issues, but that was replaced. A very simple part that I have a lot of. There's your bushing for your upper mainspring arbor port. We jeweled the arbor ports in this, and it just made a huge benefit. It was so great. So you have a really nice 6009 that's ready to come home. Well, Andy, thank you so much. Sorry it's taken so long. Of course, the mail is the mail. We got to wait for things to come in, and that always is a little slow. But all of this will come back to you, and we will move forward. And I'm excited to get this back headed your way. All right, Andy. Well, thank you so much, and I will be in touch. And thanks for watching.